Hello and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be talking about speed dating. Just before we get into it, I'm going to try and stay a bit more upbeat in this video. I look back at the video I uploaded the other day about my Xbox games, and I don't know if I was just having a bad day that day, but I was just kind of like, yeah, this is my Xbox collection, and I had to put some music in the background just to make it a little more jovial. So yeah, I apologize in advance. I'll watch that in future. I'm not really used to making videos. I'm still learning as I go, really. So I think sometimes my awareness of how I'm coming across on the camera isn't necessarily always there, but it's just a learning curve. So yeah, the reason I'm making this video today, it's because, well, actually, I've already made this video once before. It's just I listened back to it, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a bit of a mess. I said a couple of words. I've noticed I do speak very quickly, and the way I said some words, I said two words together very quickly, and they sounded like a very naughty word. So I thought, okay, yeah, let's take that one down and, and redo that one. Obviously, I'm not going to say what that word was, but it's probably one of the worst words you can say. And I wasn't saying it; it just really sounded like I was saying it. Also, I went off on a tangent a lot on that video. I do have a tendency to do that. I'm not going to lie, but I'm going to try and avoid it as much as possible here. So, yeah, I'm making this video because just want to make a video talking about the experience of speed dating and the effects it had on me, why I did it and what I got out of it, the pros and the cons. Because I find when you look online for a resource on this, which is what I did before I went, because I wanted to know, what kind of experience I was in for, or to get some general advice, there wasn't really a great deal there. A lot of it was kind of Americanized as well, and the information there was very vague. I'll give you my best kind of rundown of how it is, at least in the UK. But what I'm thinking is it's probably similar, wherever you are. It's just like I say, when you look online, it's all very. It just looks fake to me, and I mean, a lot of it will be if it's advertisement. You see a couple of documentaries and stuff that cover it, and they'll just show like a couple of funny things people say, or they'll walk out with their head down and they didn't get any matches, or they got a match and it all works out nicely. And the reality of it is, it's not really like that. It's not really like one way or the other most of the time, at least not in my experience. I've been a few times, so I do have like a fair bit of experience on this, and I think I only ever didn't get a match one time. Anyway, so yeah, that's the reason I'm doing it. I'm just trying to kind of give people a better idea of what it is and set some realistic expectations. So just to kind of start right from the beginning, I suppose. Yeah, it was about, I think it was about 3 or 4 years ago now. It's probably like 4 years ago now. The first time I ever went. It was something that had been on my mind for a very long time. I'd asked my friends to go with me loads of times, single friends obviously, and they were just never up to it, or this kind of sounded like they were going to do it, and I was ready there to push the button and get it all booked, and they just never really committed to it, so it never happened. And I think one day I just thought, why I want to do it, why am I always waiting on somebody else to do it? Like, I felt like I had to go with somebody else, and I don't know, something just. I remember when I first booked it, I just thought, do you know what I'm gonna do? I'll book it, and I must have booked it like 3 months in advance. And then I thought, well, at least it's a date in the calendar there, and it's done. And then when the day comes, I either go or I don't go. You know. So I just booked it alone, and I think in the back of my mind, I thought, oh, if I book it and they know I'm going, maybe they'll jump on the back of it at some point. It'll get them thinking. But no, that didn't happen. The day came, and I ended up going on my own. Which, to be honest, for me, for me to develop as a person, I think that probably helped me quite a lot. So the idea behind it at the time was to, well, meet a woman. That's why most people go. I felt like through work and the circumstances, in my social life, I didn't really get a lot of opportunity to meet a lot of women. So I was really trying to kind of like open up my avenues. And that's something that it will do to an extent. So in my mind, I think I was thinking, I was actually kind of excited about it, really. Nervous but excited, but thinking, oh, I might meet the woman of my dreams. And logically in my head as well, it was going to be a really efficient way of doing that. Previously, I mean, not anymore. I'm actually quite good at the online stuff now. But previously, I wasn't very good at it, and I mean, I'm still not a texter, to be honest, though, I'll say that. I really don't like texting and all this chit chat and just sending people still images of you in a good light. I'd rather just meet someone and get the feel for them. I guess I'm maybe a little bit old fashioned in that way, but to me, this was great because I'd be meeting people. I could at least get a feel or a vibe for them. And then if they felt the same, we'd both tick each other. And then if you both tick each other, then logically, that's it. You've got a girl's phone number. And then you just go from there. It should be pretty simple. The reality is it's not quite like that. But I guess that's the appeal to it and the appeal for a lot of people. I think especially for men as well, that's the appeal. It just, in your head, like, it's very logical, like, you like me, I like you, we ticked each other, let's text, maybe we'll meet up again, and then who knows. I mean, actually, funnily enough, as time went on and I went a couple of times, it more became about developing my confidence rather than, I mean, meeting women was definitely like a bonus, but I found that, like, after I went, a couple of days after, I was just like on this buzz. Like, I just felt like really confident because I knew I'd put myself out there and done something. So apart from obviously the time I didn't get any matches, that crippled me for about 24 hours. But I was alright after that, it's fine. I just went straight again, and I think I got like 4 matches the next time. One time there was only like 7 women, and I got 4 matches. I'm jumping ahead a bit there anyway, but that day was crazy. So I was actually really drunk that day, and I just didn't care about what I said or what I did, and it's probably the most matches I ever got. Don't really know what that says, to be honest, but yeah. Anyway, I digress. I told you I'll go off on a tangent. So let's start by talking about my first time at speed dating. Don't worry, I'm not going there because that's messy. Literally messy. Right, my first time speed dating. So yeah, as I was saying earlier, I was on my own. I've been on my own every time I've gone, actually. I tried to go one time, actually, with a friend, and we turned up on the wrong day. So I guess it was never meant to be. He was so happy when he found out we were there on the wrong day. He was absolutely petrified before we started. But yeah. So yeah, the first time, it was in Manchester, and it was actually with a different company than the one I've used more often. But this was like the cheapest one I could find online. So yeah, I turned up and there was like some hostess there. I was like, oh, I'm here for the speed dating. And the thing is with me, like, if you give me time to turn up, if you say, oh, we're meeting at the bar at 8 o'clock, I will be there at 8 o'clock. Not a minute past 8, I'll be there at 8 o'clock or earlier. Because especially if I'm meeting like one person, I don't like the thought of leaving someone in a bar waiting. I've noticed in life people don't often give you the same courtesy, but yeah, it's just a general rule on my part anyway. So yeah, I was there earlier, and she was like, "All right, get a drink." So I was like, "Oh, okay." And bearing in mind, like, I was probably a different person back then. I was a lot more nervous and anxious. So I went and got my pint, and then she was like a little bit antisocial, if I remember right. This hostess, she wasn't really for chatting. I mean, I say that, I don't think my banter skills were They were all right, actually. To be fair, I think I just thought they were rubbish. But I was a bit nervous, so I didn't really try and make too much conversation with her. So I just kind of like wandered around like an idiot because this bar as well, the speed dating, it's like 2 floors, this bar, and the speed dating was on the bottom floor. So the whole floor had been like reserved for speed dating. So it wasn't even like I could just blend into the crowd. It was just like me stood there with a pint in my hand, and she was stood there just, I don't know, acting like I didn't exist. Part of the course, basically. So yeah, it was a bit cringy, but eventually, some lads walked in, and if I remember right, that all these lads were like proper suited and booted. I've always been a bit casual with the speed dating. Like, I'll wear some smart shoes or something, maybe like a smart shirt. But yeah, these guys are proper suited and booted. They look like they just come from the office or something, like bank manager types, total bankers. Yeah, so I chatted with them for a bit because you kind of just edge your way in and awkwardly start a conversation. And this is one thing that I quickly learned is like you learn to kind of just you've all got something in common when you go there. So if there's guys on their own, they will approach you and speak to you, and you feel easier approaching them and speaking to them because you already have something in common, I guess. So it, oddly enough, it's a real good opportunity to make some male friends as well. Like, I've had some of the guys text me afterwards. Um, Thinking about it, I'm not sure I was at the right speed dating event. But yeah, I have had that, like asking me to go out for a drink and stuff. And so far, I've resisted the urge of decline. Well, not quite there yet. But yeah, I digress anyway. Yeah, these guys came in, they're all suited and booted. So I chatted to them, and they're all like these confident bank managery types. And it's really interesting because they were all talking about like their techniques with speaking to the ladies and stuff. Like, oh, what's your technique? Oh, I usually do this. I usually do that. I usually say this. The thing is with women, you gotta be, you gotta look the part. You gotta believe everything you're saying. And I don't know. It was more bullshit than that they were speaking, to be honest. But they were basically just talking about the strategies and stuff. And I think one of them said to me, there was like a short, fat one. Not that I'm being short and fattest. It's just the only way I can kind of differentiate it from the group, I suppose. But he was like, "Oh, so what's your strategy with the ladies? Like what do I say? What do I talk about?" And it was my first time anyway. I didn't tell him that, but I just said, I believe I said something along the lines of, "Yeah, I just tend to just talk about whatever I want and then just see how it goes. I tend to try to not think about what I'm saying too much." And he was kind of like, he kind of like cracked a joke, like, "Oh yeah, how's that going for you then?" You know, and I remember just thinking, you're a knobhead. So yeah, not the best first group of lads I ever came across, to be honest. But at the end of the day, I wasn't there for them. I was just, I was just happy to be like standing in a group and not standing around on my own anymore, looking like an idiot. Or at least I perceived myself to be looking like an idiot. That's the important thing, because one thing I've learned is like, a lot of the time you put the pressure on yourself. I mean, really, like, no one's looking at me thinking, "Oh, he's standing there on his own." People generally don't care. They only really care about themselves, and if they're knitted into a group, like just like I wasn't looking around and thinking, "Oh, that guy's on his own." And even if I did see another guy on his own, I wouldn't think, "Oh, what a loser." I genuinely wouldn't think that. The guys that I spoke to that went on their own, I mean, these lads hadn't come on their own. They were in a group. But a lot of lads do go on their own. And I always think, you meet some people that you can tell struggle with their anxiety and their confidence, or maybe or they've got some other issues that they struggle socially because of it. And they still go. It takes a lot of confidence and courage to go, especially when you kind of struggle with these things. So, automatically for me, I'm more coming from a place of like, oh, I have a bit of respect for them. The ones I don't have, I tend to just generally dislike a little bit. I mean, I never really show it, because I just, you only have to put up with them for a short amount of time. There's no point in, being nasty with people. But it's the ones that all come in really cocksure and confident, and I've never really understood that. It's like you're at speed dating, mate. I mean, I don't consider myself to be desperate. Or not anymore, anyway. But like, we're all obviously in the same boat. I mean, I don't think guys that have really got like that are like naturally players or whatever don't need to go to speed dating to up the numbers. They already have like big social circles and all this kind of stuff. So you don't really see those types there. So there's people that go in and act like the God's gift, and it's just so bizarre. It's unbelievable. I wouldn't say I'm God's gift. I would say now I am capable, and I know I can go out there and I can find myself a woman. When I feel like I want to do that. I mean, I'm going through a time at the moment where I'm happy being single because I've come out of a relationship and, whew, it was a bit of a ball buster. I'm not gonna lie. So I'm like, let's spend some time on my own. But I must admit, like recently, I've been thinking, do you know what? I'm going to get back out there. And funnily enough, I did go speed dating was it last week? I think it was last week. And that's what's kind of sparked this in my mind, I think, and been the catalyst for me making this video. But yeah, anyway, so yeah, I chatted bollocks to those lads, and then she kind of, the hostel kind of shush everyone down and explain the process, for those who haven't been before. And the process is essentially, I mean, you can pretty much guess. It's like they number the tables, and usually, at least everyone I've been to, the women will get a number, the men will get a number. So let's say like 1 to 20. Let's say you're lucky and 20 women actually turn up, because there's always more men than women. But let's say you're lucky and there's an equal number. Then the women will be 1 to 20. Say I come in, say I'm not the first one there, and I get like number 5. Then I'll start at woman number 5. Then I'll go 6, 7, 8, 9, up to 20. Then when I get to 20, I'll go back to 1, 2, 3, 4. And you're all basically moving in the line. They all sit at the table, and it's the lads who move on. And that's how it's run at like everyone I've been to. And I think when the numbers are really high, you tend to get less time. So I think one time it was super high, and I think it was like 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes, which is like nothing. I mean, some people think about that like it's going to be the hardest thing to make a conversation in that time. It's like, honestly, it's nothing. You ask how someone's day's gone. That's a minute gone already. Well, assuming they actually have something to say, that is. So yeah, anyway, that's how it runs with the numbers. And then you have like a half-time break as well, so in the middle, because to see all those people in a row would be pretty intense. So you might see like, say, 10 of those 20, and then you'll have like a 15-minute break. And then usually in the break, everyone just gets back in the groups and just has a bit of a chat or whatever. Oh, how's it going? Yeah, it's alright. I think some like me, blah, blah, blah. Oh, that one's a bit, like just talking trash, basically. And then, yeah, also at the end, like you'll hand these sheets and you get given these sheets, these tick sheets. So as you go in, you'll write like the number down, and then you'll get the name when you sit in front of them. They'll have like it on the name badge. And you'll write the name down, and then basically you tick across them. And there's a little bit for comments, which surprisingly you do need, because when you've seen that many people in a row, you kind of need to write something about them to remember them. Like whether it's the job or what they were wearing or whatever. Or their attitude. Yeah, and that's it. So the principle's quite simple. If you both tick each other, then after the event you get an email saying, oh, you got a match with this person. Here's the number. And then it's down to one of you to text the other. Every single time, it's always been me who's had to text them. Don't know if that's just the way it is, or they were just taking me to be nice. But yeah, I think that's just the way it is, to be quite honest with you. I think it's just one of those unspoken things. And I'm fine with that. So yeah, just one tip on the ticking as well is like don't just tick everyone. You'd think, oh, maximize my chances and tick everyone, and then as long as one likes me, I'll definitely get a match. I would say don't do that because a lot of the girls that go, they're going to be in like groups, so they're going to know each other. Plus, if you've had a few drinks and you're carrying that sheet around with you, it's not hard to see in your hand a sheet full of ticks. So once that's spotted, yeah, you're not getting sick of anyone basically. So you just got to be a bit more like savvy and selective about it. And if you're genuinely going to meet someone, you should be selective anyway. To be fair, you know. Um. So yeah, I kind of learned that from trial and error anyway. So yeah, that's the process, and then just talking about in terms of like how the conversations go. I already said earlier, what my approach was, which is like just say whatever comes out of your mouth. So as far as the conversations go, there's a couple of different approaches. Some people will have set questions that they'll want to ask. A lot of the girls, like I've noticed, they'll be like, "Oh, what do you do for work? What is your hobby?" But like you don't, if I'm being honest, you don't really get very many original questions. Or if you do get an original question, it's usually like proper like left field and out there, which to be honest is at least more interesting than what's your job. I mean, the thing is, I actually kind of like my job, so. But you got to bear in mind, you've only got like 4 minutes, so you ask someone what the job is and to explain it, and if they like it, that's going to take like 4 minutes, if they're passionate about it. So you got to be a bit savvy with your time. But sometimes it is just about the vibe rather than what you actually say. I think as long as what you got to make sure is that you both have a chance to speak. You let them speak, but you also speak yourself. You probably noticed in some of my videos that I can talk a lot and I can talk for a long time. And believe it or not, that is something I used to struggle with. But now it's not so much. And I can kind of, especially if I'm like passionate about something I'm talking about, or I'm feeling some emotion behind it, I can go and go. So I have to be careful with that. I have to be mindful of that. So yeah, you've got people who ask the questions, or what was your favourite animal? What animal would you be? What's your favourite colour? God. You know, somebody asked me once actually, what's your favourite meal? I mean, that's not that original to be fair, but when she answered it, because you say, oh, mine's this, well, go on, what's yours then? Because I just feel like you got to do that. She was like, oh, rare steak with blue cheese sauce. I was like, oh, that sounds disgusting. I was like, that honestly sounds horrendous. That's probably the worst thing I've ever heard in my life. Because, yeah, to be fair, this would probably be another thing I'd say. This is a thing in my approach that I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say something to appease someone. I actually think it's more attractive if you're just upfront and honest. That's what I find personally, and I would hope that they would probably want that from me. So yeah, don't just say things to appease people. If they say something that you don't like or you don't agree with, just be honest about it. As long as you're not rude, it's all good. And talking about people being rude, in my bad experiences, I could honestly count on one hand and probably met a lot of women by this point. I think I can only remember like literally like two. One of them you probably even couldn't count as a bad one. She was just really weird and like I'm sure because these things. One thing I didn't mention is there's like age brackets, so it might be like 20s to 30s. I think I was like 30 at the time, so I was pushing my luck a bit. Well, this woman looked about like 55, and she came across like really school teachery and like almost like trying to belittle me a little bit. So I just had a joke with it. I think I told her I was like a porn addict or something, which probably wasn't far from the truth at the time. But I was just like, as soon as I sat down, I thought she's gonna bust my balls. This woman. I just thought I'm gonna show her I don't care. That's what I'm gonna do, and that's pretty much what I did. And funnily enough, she ticked me. It turned out. Because that's another thing I didn't mention. Yeah, you will get your matches, but at some organisations, if they just tick you, what it'll do is give you their number, but they won't get yours. It'll just say all these other women expressed an interest kind of thing. Like the time I spoke about before, where I got 4 matches. I didn't tick all them. I only ticked one of them. So I had one proper match, and then another 3 girls gave me the number. Yeah, and then one other girl was just really rude and like really condescending. Can't really remember the conversation, but the mannerisms. It's like she was just looking down her nose at me, and her friend was there, like also speed dating, speaking to someone else at the same time, and she was just looking over and what was going on over there, like all, through the whole thing. I was just like, wow, you're really rude. I mean, that's one of my pet peeves. I've had a couple like that where I wouldn't put them into the really bad category, but if I notice that they're looking at what the friend's doing when you're speaking to them, I'm like, well, you lack some basic social skills there, because, you know, I've been in a few conversations where I'm genuinely not interested, but you're polite and you act. I mean, God, it's 4 minutes. Just hold your attention for 4 minutes. It's just simple manners. So if they can't do that, I'm like, I don't matter what they look like or what they say after that. They're getting across, you know. So yeah, but this other girl was like really, really rude and condescending, and I think she's like trying to belittle me a little bit. I just thought, wow, what a disgusting human being. And the truth of the matter is what was really crazy was as soon as I sat down, it sounds bad, but a lot of people do. As soon as they sit down, they know whether they're going to tick across you or not. As soon as you cross them, like they say, like something statistically, like the first whatever seconds, people make their minds up, and then after that, it's very hard to change the mind. And I'll be honest, I feel that way about a lot of them. She was one of them. As soon as I sat down, I was like, nah, I know, she's not for me. I just felt it, and then she was just a horrible person. And I was like, wow. But, you know, I really didn't care. It's like, I don't care what you think of me, because, to be honest, I wouldn't date you if you were the last woman on earth. I'd just stick to bloody ex-hamster. As long as assuming she was the last woman on earth, but there was still, like, internet services and stuff like that. But then if she was the last woman on earth, would you be able to watch... Yeah, anyway, I digress. Again, I'm not a porn addict. But I have some theories about porn, actually, that, you know, it's for your mental well-being, it's actually not good for you. You know, I think, like, in small doses, it's not harmful to anyone, but there's definitely some dangers of porn to, like, society. But, yeah, I'm not going to get into that. It's funny, though, when... Just one more quick thing on that. If I mention it to some of my friends, they're like, no, it's fine. They're proper adamant that it's fine. And I'm like, yeah, I know why you're adamant, it's fine. But yeah, whatever. Right, so just moving swiftly on. Talking about more, like, in terms of results that I got from it. Yeah, I got loads of matches. Literally my phone now. I mean, I said at the start, I've been a few times. It's probably an understatement. Over the last 4 years, I went a lot. Obviously, while I think there was like a common cold going around or something like that, so couldn't go at that point. There's a bit of a bug going around or something. But outside of that period, and obviously the period where, because I met my girlfriend and I dated her for a while, so that was almost a year. But like I said, she was a ball buster. I had to bin that off. But then it took me like quite some time. Like I think it's like been nearly 6 months now, and now I'm like, okay, maybe I can get back to it. But outside of all that time, I did go quite a few times because it was just a really efficient way of meeting women. I must have in my phone. I don't even know how many numbers. I got a lot of numbers in my phone from speed dating. And yeah, I mean, I only put the ones in. To be fair, the ones I've got in, I say a lot. Like, it's probably not that many. It's probably like maybe 20 or something. Because the ones I actually saved, if they just give me the number, I never tick them in the first place. And then if I tick like 2, and then I match them both. I know this sounds really dumb, but I only ever message 1. I just find that, like, the investment for me, you know, for me to invest in somebody, I can't do that with 2 people at once. I just feel like I don't have the energy to do it sometimes. So I only saved like X amount of numbers from the ones I got. Um, but yeah, I mean, the only real success. I mean, I had a few that were like lined up for dates and they flaked on me. But outside of that, I honestly like I never met any of them again after it. There was only one girl I did, and I met her on the night. She actually went on her own, so that was a bit unique. And I asked her out there and then on the night, like after the speed dating, and I went out with her, into town, and we had a good time. And then after that, we kind of kept in touch for a bit. But then again, it just flaked out in the end. So, I mean, maybe it's something to do with my text game. What I try and do is kind of lock it down, shall we say, before too many texts have been sent. Because I know, like, I'm not a texter, and it's like I would rather just spend time with someone. So yeah, in terms of like finding love through speed dating, I definitely not found that. I would still go now though, because now what I go for is more the confidence buzz. Like, one of the things that I learned as well is that a lot of people drink to build their own confidence. And I looked within myself and I was like, yeah, that's what I was doing. I was having a drink because I just thought, oh, it'll settle my nerves. It'll give me more confidence. When you sit down, I mean, I don't drink now when I do it. You sit down in front of them and they're like, oh, you're not drinking. They're like blown away. Oh, and they nearly always, honestly, 9 times out of 10, they'll say, oh, I have to have a drink to, settle my nerves. Or I couldn't do this without a drink. And I just think that's not a great way to be. Especially after, the bug went round. I think it was a good opportunity for a lot of people to kind of curb it, and I'm trying to take that opportunity. I have still been drinking from time to time, but yeah, I don't drink a lot really. And when I went to the speed dating last week, I didn't have a drop. I just had orange juice. So I think that's a more attractive quality to have, really. I mean, after what I've just said, you probably think, oh, it's rubbish. He's not got any game or whatever. But I get the numbers. I get the numbers. It's just like what comes of that. But what you will find is that a lot of women they're not going for the same reason as the men. The demographic's completely different. The majority of the men, when I speak to them going there, are legitimately looking for someone. The vast majority of the girls are just going with the friends as like moral support, or just going for a laugh. Like, honestly, I would say out of about 20 women going, there'd probably be like 3 that are like really serious. So the numbers don't always, I guess, the numbers lie, basically. And another thing I found as well is that, like, sometimes I would speak to a girl and I was like, oh man, she's definitely ticking me. Because you just click and they were really warm and friendly, and then they didn't tick you. And you've got to try not to rack your brain too much as to why, because that's just a dangerous way to think, I think, in general. But then you'll have other girls that you'll think, oh, they're not ticking me. Like, I had somewhere I was like, literally the last time, she was like really good looking, airplane pilot. She's a bit young for me, to be honest. I think she was like 23. And I'm like in my 30s. Not saying like there's anything wrong with it, but for me, I was like, we're at different stages in our lives. But anyway, I didn't tick her, and she bloody ticked me. So I ended up texting her anyway. But the problem is, like, you text them and they know you haven't ticked them. You got like a cat in hell's chance basically getting a response. But I was like, bloody hell, and I was initially going to tick her. But something stupid in my mind made me not. And it wasn't the age. I think I was more like, oh, maybe she's a bit out of my league. I think maybe there was a bit of that going on. So, yeah, you never count yourself out, basically. But another thing, it did, like, open my eyes to how some people stay single because of their attitude, both the men and the women. I mean, I think some women are very, very particular and picky, and they're waiting for this, like, perfect guy to come along, and it's just not going to happen. But then the men, it's like, they're not looking for the perfect woman, they're just looking for a woman, but their problem is that they're just, like, there's no self-awareness. When I speak to some of these guys, we've been about like 2 minutes. There's some of them I spoke to and just thought like, wow, you're a bit of an arsehole actually. And it's like, if I'm thinking this after 2 minutes, and then there's others you speak to and the way they speak, you can just tell they have a general disdain for women, whether it's because of like bad experiences or something. I mean, I've had plenty of bad experiences, don't get me wrong, plenty of knockbacks, but I always think to myself, like, you can't start disliking women as a whole because all that is ever going to do is make you more dislikable to women. That is all it will ever achieve. You're never going to gain anything positive from just thinking badly of all women. You never will. It's not going to get you anywhere in life. It'll just make you miserable, ultimately. So you have to be like, you have to have a good, strong mindset, I think, with it. And also, like I said before, don't be too hard on yourself if things don't work out. Like, somebody flakes on you. Like, I literally had one, like, I had the date set up all week, and then, like, before, literally, like, an hour before she flaked on me. I really liked her as well. I was like, what? But then as soon as they flake on me, I'm like, okay, well, if you change your mind, let me know. And then I never text them again, and they never text me again, but I'm not really the kind of person that, if you knock me back, you knock me back. Maybe that's maybe that's a failing on my part, I don't know, but it's the way I feel. And again, I'm not a texter, so maybe with that one, like, through the entire week, she's probably thinking, he's not texting me much. But it's like, yeah, I've got life. Like, that should be a good sign that I'm not, like, I don't know, like, really intense. Like, why can't people just be chilled out these days, I guess maybe the world's changing now. Man, I hate texting. I hate it so much. Texting, DMing, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, anyway. So overall, like, I would... Oh, and just going back, before I just cover this last bit, about what I learned. I did gain a lot of confidence from it. Like I said very early on in the video, I had a lot of social anxiety in the past. I couldn't even speak. I used to think that I didn't have the ability to speak to people, or I couldn't hold a conversation. I think in my mind, I thought that I just wasn't smart enough to kind of know what to say. And once I kind of got over the hump of the anxiety, I realised it wasn't that I didn't know what to say. It's that I was being very, very selective about what I say, and everything was going through a filter, because I thought literally most things that I would normally say were unacceptable, so I wouldn't say them. I'd just stand there like dumbfounded with like nothing to say back, and people would be like, oh, you're quiet, or just find me a bit socially odd, So I really discovered that I do have the ability to really speak to people and have a decent conversation, and I think that's the same for a lot of people, but you kind of tell yourself otherwise. So yeah, I just wanted to cover that one, and also, yeah, you get the knockbacks like I said before, but just once you've met so many people and you get the numbers, even if it's just getting the numbers, you realise that there are always plenty more fish in the sea, literally. So I don't know if literally was the right word there, but whatever, I don't care. So yeah, overall, I would recommend the experience. Just know what you're getting into when you go. You might go, I'm not saying you won't go and meet the love of your life. That is very possibly something that could happen. There are people who've, met on stuff like that, and there's success stories, and to be honest, like, I'll probably still keep going. I enjoy going. I mean, it costs a bit of money. It's about 25 quid a bloody pop at the moment, and then I have to go into Manchester because there's none, like, in my hometown. I mean, God, I dread to think what it'd be like in my hometown. You get some right. So it probably is better going into Manchester. You get a more diverse, because like Manchester's a city, you get lots of different types of women from different backgrounds. It's definitely a lot more interesting. Yeah, so I will keep going, and who knows, maybe I will meet someone for it. When I've met people in the past, like my last girlfriend, I met on eHarmony. I still stand by that eHarmony is the best way to meet someone. I had a date lined up a couple of weeks ago on eHarmony, and then I actually cancelled on her because I just felt like in myself I wasn't ready at that point. But I literally had a date nailed down within like 2-3 days. Like I didn't mess around. And then I had another potential one lined up actually recently, but with her again, I don't think I wasn't ready. I was very like disinterested, and I think that comes across sometimes. So I just let it fizzle out basically. But I know when I'm ready, I'll get back on it. But you can't really beat that buzz of meeting people face to face. The only way you can substitute that is maybe a video chat, and if that goes well, you do tend to genuinely have their interest. What I would say though, actually, comparing the video chats on dating sites to the speed dating, you would think it would be worse, like you would have a lower success rate because it's just a video chat. But I can tell you now, I probably video chatted. It's only something I started doing like more recently. Well, like last couple of years or whatever. But I probably video chatted like 5 or 6, and out of those 5 or 6, there's literally only 2 I didn't meet. One because, oh no, there's 3 I didn't meet. 2 of them because I video chatted them and I was like, nah, not for me. And then one of them, she came back and she must have looked at me and thought, nah, not for me. You know, which is fair enough because she was honest about it, and I do respect that. Because some people can just ghost you, and I think that's just rude. Like, we're all adults now, you know. Yeah, but out of that, like, you know, you video chat, and so literally, like, only one time out of all those times I video chatted and they decided they didn't like me. So I had a really good success rate, and then when I locked down a date from there, like, yeah, I cancelled on the woman the other week, but all the others I went on. They didn't mess me about. Some were like, oh, I can't go now, and I thought, oh, they messed me about, but they were still keen to meet me and want to video chat me again, and then we ended up eventually meeting. So yeah, for some reason that seems to be a lot more effective than speed dating, but I think that's probably more to do with the demographic you're speaking to, especially with eHarmony. I mean, it's not bloody cheap, so you're speaking to a woman who's paid a lot of money, who genuinely wants to meet someone, and like I said, you go to speed dating, the demographic is different, so just keep that in mind. But if you're going there and you want to build your social skills and be able to speak to people and really like test yourself, it's definitely a good experience and you will grow from it. Just don't get put off. You know, if you do have a bad experience, don't let it put you off, because I assure you, if you do, it's a one-off. You know, just go again and give it another go. I'll definitely go again in future. It's not my go-to way of meeting people, but I just get a kick out of it. I'd really like to go with a friend, but I think it'd be a good night just to have a few drinks, and like, I know I say I don't drink on it, but if I was with a friend, I would have a couple of drinks, and yeah, I just think it could be fun. But a lot of them now are all like, you know, in serious relationships, so I can't do that with them. One guy could legit go with me, but he just won't do it. So yeah, anyway, that's that. I hope you enjoyed the video. Yeah, sorry, it was a really long one. Not as long as my original speed dating video, which was like, oh man, it was well over an hour. So I did keep it, actually, believe it or not. I kept it a little bit more streamlined. I'll put some gameplay with this as well. But yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you like this, click like, and yeah, please subscribe. I mostly talk about video games and stuff, but I do like to talk about some man stuff on the side. I've got another video I've got in the pipeline about man stuff, but I'm not really at the point where I know enough to talk about it, if I'm being honest. I think that's going to be a couple of months in the making, and then yeah, I'll probably bang that one out. So I'm just going to keep that one under my belt at the moment. Is that the phrase, under my belt? I don't even wear a belt. I'm going to keep that under my pants. Under my pants. I'll keep it under wraps for now. Under wraps. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, for the third and final time, goodbye.